Welcome to Baha'i Tunes. Now, this is probably the only episode where you're going to hear me talk instead of just listening to the music. I just wanted to use this first episode to introduce you to what will emerge, I hope, as a relatively large music library with songs inspired by Baha'i themes, which people can use both in their personal listening, but also for community events and for their media productions. I wanted to use this first episode to explain the background associated with this evolving library, because today, at least, it's somewhat unconventional, because it's largely AI derived. And I also wanted to explain the problem that I'm hoping to address in building this library this way, and the opportunities for you going into the future. So first, let's just dive in with a little bit of this quick background. Now, I am not a professional musician. I'm not really even an amateur musician, by which I mean someone who performs regularly, even if they're not in a professional or paid capacity. Instead, I'm more of what you might call a hobby musician, someone who loves creating music, but does it kind of like on the side from time to time, maybe in some very specific contexts or addressing some very specific needs. It's a side gig. I can play a few instruments, but none at a professional level. But I do write original music, usually songs with a clear purpose. And I also don't have the benefit of being gifted with a singing voice. And so most of my songwriting never sees the light of day. It's never performed in front of a real audience. So what I've been doing is writing songs and hiring people to perform and sing them, usually through an online gig platform. And I distribute these primarily through things like my podcasts. Now, all of this changed very recently when I discovered just how powerful AI was in creating music. I mean, the composition, the voices, the instruments, it's all so professional sounding. And a really big breakthrough happened for me once I realized that I could create custom songs for literally every episode of a monthly podcast series that I host called Society Builders. So now each episode of Society Builders ends with the song that summarizes that episode. And while the lyrics are mine, the rest comes from the power of AI. And I was both shocked and amazed by the quality of what AI could produce, particularly once I learned how to optimize my AI song production, learning how to put in the right prompts, learning how to use a range of different AI platforms for different tasks to really get to the outcomes that I wanted. And as I started developing more songs in this way, I thought it'd be a good idea to figure out some place to make them accessible. And I thought that the podcast platform might be one good platform, among others, to house this collection. So that's how Baha'i Tunes came to be. Now, a couple of things you should know. First, unless otherwise indicated in the show notes, all of the songs will be mostly AI generated. Typically, I'll be creating the lyrics, but everything else will be AI. Now, I could certainly depend entirely on AI and leave the lyrics to AI as well, but the reason I don't do this is that I still really enjoy writing the music. In truth, that's my primary artistic contribution to the music. And so I've carved out the lyrics for myself. Now, I know this raises questions about whether it's right to create music using AI in the first place. And my personal view is that all of God's creation is there for us to enjoy. So if we have AI, well, then it's something we should use. And we need to discover how to use it to properly enhance the arts. And I think that's a major challenge. I mean, it's kind of like the invention of the synthesizer. You can use a synthesizer to create the sound of a violin. Clearly, it's not the same thing. It's not as good as a real violin. So why do we use it? And I think part of the answer here is that it makes instruments available to us that otherwise wouldn't be. I mean, I don't know how to play a violin, and I might not have access to a musician who can, but I can still incorporate that sound. So even though there's a space for real violins, there might also be a space for these synthesized ones. Now, I know it's not quite the same. I mean, AI is like a synthesizer on steroids. I mean, it's a revolution. It's next level. And I know this is truly, truly devastating for artists. I mean, clearly, This isn't true human artistic creation. But on the other hand, there's something incredibly democratic about it. It gives us the capacity to create, to enjoy, to be inspired by music. And it's available to all of us. I mean, it's the ultimate expression of universal participation. Everyone can now create their own music. So this democratizing dimension, I think, is one of the benefits. And I think it challenges artists to a higher level of art, not one based on simply replicating simple chord structures, which might be commercially the rage. But is it really all that challenging artistically? So maybe AI is drawing attention to how patterned so much of modern music is, challenging us to do more. And of course, it still leaves enormous opportunity for live performance, which is still really largely human. Now, I certainly think that there is a clear need for a major discourse on the role of the artist in the age of AI. But in the interim, hey, I'm just hoping that the music here will help inspire people, even if it is AI having a hand in that process. So that's a little bit of the rationale here. Now, I also want to address a very important topic here, and that's my understanding of the legal rights here. One of the things that frustrates me is how intellectual property law often constrains and limits our ability to use music promoting Baha'i themes. A musician will often create a very moving song, perhaps even with the goal of inspiring and moving others. And maybe you'd like to use that song at a local event, but it's hard to get the appropriate legal rights to actually do that. And sometimes, even when you do reach out and try, the artist isn't willing to allow their work to be used, which is certainly their right. But this business of securing rights is a major challenge, impeding easy access to inspiring music. So I wanted to create a space where a lot of music addressing very, very, very specific themes related to Baha'i aspirations was available for people, not only to listen to, but to use at their community events, their social media spaces, in their media productions and the like. So a quick clarification. AI music, as I understand it, is not legally defined as a human creation, so it doesn't enjoy intellectual property protection under most national jurisdictions. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so you should get your own proper advice on this. But if I'm right, that means that AI-generated music should be relatively free to use. But since my lyrics are human-created, they are protected. So the songs themselves become copyright because of the lyrics. So I'm making it clear here that I am okay with you using this music for both your personal use and for your community events, social media posts, media productions, and the like, provided that your event is positively promoting the Baha'i faith and its principles and is not in opposition to them. But I do reserve the right to deny you these rights if I don't feel that they're being used in this kind of positive way. I'm making this carve out to avoid seeing the music used in some kind of negative context. But other than that, feel free to use the music in your community events, feel free to perform them, feel free to use them in your audiovisual productions. And if you want any clarifications because you're not sure, then reach out to me at varan@itri.tv. That's VARAN at ITRI.tv. But my hope is that the music will be used freely, and that it will inspire. So the more it's used, the happier that makes me. This is part of the reason I'm releasing the music, to give individuals and communities access to more music on very specific themes. And one more thing. I'm hoping that as more and more of you discover AI music production for yourselves, you'll want to house your music here on Baha'i Tunes. So if you want to share your music that way, then reach out to me. And assuming you're happy with the same kind of distribution terms, I'll review it for inclusion. After all, the more the merrier. And my final thought. I was going to just have this intro be in song form. And I generated a song doing exactly that, a song that would summarize this intro. But I thought that for this first episode, I should really give you a little bit more of an explanation. So I resorted to giving this little talk here. But I did write the song, and I got AI to produce it for me. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. So once again, Welcome to Baha'i Tunes. I hope you will enjoy the music, and I look forward to reading your comments and reviews. And I leave you today with my song, which I'm calling a very original title, Introduction. This is the musical version of what you've just heard me explain. I hope you will enjoy.
This song is an intro to the Baha'i Tunes collection. My hope is the music will inspire your reflection. I use this first song to lay down my terms and rights, so you can use the music legally at your community nights. Most of the music reflects the power of AI. It creates the musical composition on themes that are Baha'i. It also creates the voices, the instruments and pace. Although I still write the lyrics, so there's still a human trace. So enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection and use it as you will. Use it to make the world better, to inspire, to appeal. Enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection as we try to unify. Unleash the power of music, even if it's with AI. I often find it's hard to use the songs we love so much, because its rights are hard to access, its rights are hard to touch. So while it inspires at home or on the road or in my bed, we can't perform it in public or outside my lofty head. So the Baha'i Tunes collection creates new opportunity to use the music freely for events in our community. We can use it in our posts, in our movies, TikToks. We are liberating music for the hope that it unlocks. So enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection and use it as you will. Use it to make the world better, to inspire, to appeal. Enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection as we try to unify. Unleash the power of music, even if it's with AI. So enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection and use it as you will. Use it to make the world better, to inspire, to appeal. Enjoy the Baha'i Tunes collection as we try to unify. Unleash the power of music, even if it's with AI.